December 2024, driven by a combination of factors, including a decline in interest rates in advanced economies owing to monetary policy easing and an increase in foreign exchange earnings from tourism, gold, cashew nuts, and tobacco. Speaking in Dar es Salaam, the governor insists these factors, combined with the implementation of monetary policy, intends to tame the impact of exchange rate depreciation and led to exchange rate appreciation.
Exchange rate speculative tendencies and the parallel market have actually disappeared as of now. And we also continue to commend those who managed to transact it through the IFM. We are glad to see most of the banks and other financial institutions who had enough liquidity who continue to participate in the auctions, and we are glad to continue with these supportive arrangements in the future. Exchange rate pressure are expected to be muted in the first quarter of 2025, which is usually characterized by seasonal low inflows of foreign exchange. And this is due to a large carryover of foreign exchange liquidity from the preceding quarter, as well as the impact of monetary policy, which is actually, as we continue to maintain our central bank rate at 6%.
The BOT governor adds that the current foreign currency reserves are more than $5.5 billion, a level that is sufficient to import goods and services for more than 4.7 months. The reserve is expected to remain at that level in the first quarter of 2025 due to the efforts made by the central bank in increasing foreign currency reserves, including the purchase of gold. Tanzania Investment Center TAC has been playing a pivotal role to coordinate, promote and facilitate investments in Tanzania and advise the government on policy matters in order to create a competitive, attractive and sustainable investment climate here in Tanzania. President Samia Suluhu Hassan, when delivering her New Year 2025 message, she largely emphasized that her government has done and continues to do to make 2025 a landmark year for Tanzanians. To discuss that perspective, we are joined live by TAC's Executive Director, Gilead Terry, who is here in the studio. Mr. Terry, welcome to TBC News.
Thank you very much.
Great pleasure to be with you here tonight. TAC targets to be a facilitation agency in attracting quality investments in Tanzania. How does TAC safeguard Tanzanians' large-scale investors? And of late, has there been an increase in the number of investors who are coming from Tanzania? I'm talking about the local investors, or there has been a decrease?
So 2024 was a very remarkable year. In our statistics, it was the best investment year since the independence of this country. The administration of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan reformed the Investment Act in the year 2022, and the intent there was to give more opportunities for Tanzania, helping more Tanzanians get registered as investors, but also get the support that they need from government for them to thrive. What we have seen up to 31st of December 2024 is 901 new investment projects in the country, 311 of them owned by Tanzanians, close to 40%, but also another 386 of them owned by joint ventures between foreigners and Tanzania. So if you put the two together, close to 70% of all projects that TAC registered in 2024 had the hands of Tanzanians. And that is a massive increase. This is a number that was hovering somewhere between 10 to 15% for the last 4 or 5 years. And this is the first time that we have seen the largest increase in terms of domestic investors. Our expectation is that for the year 2025, that number will reach at least 50%. 50% of all new investments that will be registered within the TIC will be from Tanzania. And that has been the intention of Her Excellency and her administration. And that is what that law has delivered, really.
Let's talk about this perception. Some of the people think that maybe TAC do prioritize foreign investors over local investors. How would you respond to that? But also, how you as TAC ensure that foreign investors and local investors are guided equally?
I mean, that perception is fair, and it is a perception of the past. So before the administration of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, really the investment really focused on foreigners. The incentives that foreigners were getting, I mean, the focusing of TIC as an administration was more for foreigners compared to Tanzanians. And what Her Excellency changed when she came into office is to give priority to Tanzanian. She said that the economic growth of Tanzania must be owned by Tanzanians, must be championed by the Tanzanians. And then she changed the Investment Act in 2022 to give opportunities to Tanzanians. So in the current investment framework, Tanzanians have opportunities 10 times much more easier than foreigners. It takes only $50,000 US for a Tanzanian to be registered as an investor, and it takes a foreigner $500,000 for them to be recognized as investors. And we have really made it easy for Tanzanians who are already in businesses to come to TIC to get the incentives and the support that the government can give them to do business. And the growth that we're seeing now in our country is largely driven by Tanzanians. And that was the intent of Her Excellency. And we as TIC, we have tried to provide services equally for both, but because it is much more cheaper and affordable for Tanzanians, we are seeing a lot more Tanzanians come to us compared to foreigners.
That's great news. We would like to see more and more Tanzanians become billionaires, here in Tanzania. And TAC, you can play a very key role on that particular area. As TAC, how do you ensure, what kind of plan do you have in place to encourage and boost Tanzanians' confidence, let's say from university level, so that they become confident enough and in the future they become large-scale investors?
So there are many things that we do. One, we work with universities and work with media houses like TBC to make sure that there's information about the investment landscape in our country, all the reforms that Her Excellency is doing, all the work that TIC is doing to make investment much more easier for everyone. So that education and public knowledge part is very essential. But the second part is also campaigns and making sure that we reach Tanzanians where they are. We go around the regions, explain how individuals and businesses, they can have the advantages through TIC. But then we provide Tanzanians with incentives. If a regular Tanzanians wants to start a factory, wants to buy a truck, we make them aware that the government will help them to start their businesses much more easier. And then we have a one-stop center that helps them facilitate their day-to-day operations, whether it's getting licenses and permits. And all this makes it very, very easy for Tanzanians to also start and operate businesses. And this is the dynamism that we are seeing happening up in the economy at the moment. And as TIC in the year 2025, we still plan to go much closer to where Tanzanians are. We will be opening up much more zonal offices and make sure that the benefits of being an investor in our country, they are enjoyed by Tanzanians first and foremost before foreigners. And that is what Her Excellency in her administration wants.
At times, seeing is believing. Some of the Tanzanians who are watching Tbcnews at this particular time, they would like to see those people who have succeeded to invest largely in Tanzania, who are actually locals, coming out and encourage the rest to do the same. How has TAC encouraged large-scale investors who are here in Tanzania to come out and encourage the rest? To start thinking and boost their confidence and to start investing in large scale across the country?
I mean, good question. So one of the things that we did quite well in 2024, and we expect to do much more this year, is to publicize and popularize all these projects that Tanzanians have done all across the country in a way that encourages other Tanzanians to do. So I will give you an example. In January last year, we had a tour of about 18 regions with a group of media houses, TBC included, where we visited not only fisheries factories in Mwanza, but also cotton ginneries in Simiyu, sugar estates in Kagera, in Morogoro, in different parts of the country. And the whole idea was to showcase Tanzanian projects, Tanzanians who have really dared, they have really believed in the reform agenda that Her Excellency is spearheading, and actually started a business. And this year, we will do a year-long campaign to explain the benefits of investments in our country. Not only jobs for Tanzanians, For last year, over 200,000 jobs, but also the capital that flows into the country, over $8.3 billion a whole year, but the new technologies that come in, new taxes that the government is able to collect, and the general economic dynamism that we are seeing. Today, Tanzania is a country of envy. I mean, it's one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. It's a model of stability, it's a model for progress, and that is a result of investment. That is a result of good leadership of Our Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, and that is something that we will continue to showcase as TIC as we encourage more and more Tanzanians to become investors in their own country. We also do something very unique. We help Tanzanians who are looking for partnerships to partner with foreigners that they can do business together. We don't believe in foreigners only coming to do business by themselves, but if they can do together with Tanzanians, that's better. So we have a desk, and whenever Tanzanians that have business ideas and they have concepts that are looking for partners, we do matchmaking. And we believe that when the capital from outside matches the local knowledge from Tanzania, that's what local content is all about, everyone wins.
And how has the response been from, because Tanzania is a member of various regional integration organizations like EAC, African Union, and SADC. How has the response been from these regional organizations for those member countries to come and invest in Tanzania and at times partner with Tanzanians?
It's been extremely well. I mean, you and I are witnesses that if we go to Iringa and Njombe today, we'll find a lot of Kenyan companies that are working with Tanzanian avocado farmers. We will find a lot of Ugandans as well as our neighboring countries working with, in the horticulture sector. And that is the spirit of East African community. That is the spirit of SADC, so that we can develop a win-win situation. But also a lot of Tanzanian investors have invested in neighboring countries, be it in DRC, Malawi, Zambia, all the way to South Africa. But not only that, we have friends from distant shores. I mean, next week on Tuesday, we have a delegation of 60 companies from Japan that are coming to Tanzania to look for business partnerships and investment partnership with Tanzanians. So there has been a very good inflow, a very good appetite, not only fueled by the businesses opportunities in the country, but by stable and solid leadership of Our Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, and certainly the matchmaking work that TIC is doing. And we think that 2025 is going to be one of the best years of investment as well as 2024 was.
The Executive Director of Tanzania Investment Center, Gilead Terry, thank you very much for being with us here tonight. I'm sure that there are a lot of things to discuss on how TIC supports local investors here in Tanzania. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Now, in other news, in the mid-20th century, African leaders emerging from the shadows of colonial rule visualized a united, prosperous, and independent Africa. This vision wasn't just a dream, it was a call to action. The Tanzania's founding father, Julius Kambarage Nyerere, with his counterparts at that time, wanted the establishment of United States of Africa. This dream entailed continental solidarity, economic cooperation, and a collective voice on the global stage. But as with all great visions, the path to unity faced some challenges, many of which still persist today. Let's join my colleague Faithan Gaga as she takes us through the vision, some of the challenges encountered on the way, and the way forward.
I'm a great believer in unity. I believe in the old adage, unity is strength. I mean, this is truly, it is strength. And the human race would be much stronger if we were united. We'd get rid of a lot of problems in the world if we could be united. And therefore, the human race must move towards unity. And continents like mine, a country like Tanzania must move towards greater unity, continents must move towards greater unity, and the human race must move towards unity.
The seeds of African unity were planted when visionary leaders like Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana and Julius Nyerere of Tanganyika began to advocate for a united Africa. Their dream was rooted in the belief that only through unity could Africa rise to its full potential, shake off the remnants of colonialism, and stand on equal footing with the rest of the world.
Our unity can provide us with anything like adequate protection. Those problems can best be met within a unified Africa. And it should be possible in the higher reaches of our endeavor to devise a constitutional structure which will secure the objectives I have outlined, and yet preserve the sovereignty of each of the countries joining the Union. Countries within the Union will naturally maintain their own constitutions, continue to use their own national emblems and national anthems and other symbols and paraphernalia of sovereignty.
Their dream met significant challenges. Colonial boundaries created fragile states. The new nations inherited these divisions, which became barriers to cooperation.
Now, back in 1950s, 1955, late there, they had a discussion on how we should reach to what we call continental unity, or the African nation. Now, one divided into Casablanca group, which was led by Kwame Nkrumah, and the people from Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, and the rest of that part, Sokotore. And the other part was the Monrovia group. The Monrovia group actually led by Nyerere and the other team. And Nyerere was vibrant simply because he had experienced the union of Tanganyika and Zanzibar, so they had a discussion. He had overseen that in order for us to develop a continental unity, we needed to go through the regional integrations where we form slowly from a small group going to a larger group. So this is how it happened. They were of that nature. But the Casablanca group wanted straight away, when we get independence, we form a continental unit, the United States of Africa. Anyway, in everything you do, there is positive and negative. The reactions never went their way. So what we have achieved from that discussion is having regional integrations. After regional integrations, you see, for example, East African community is expanding to a population of not less than 300 and above, and is moving towards Ethiopia, and many other countries are joining. You can see SADC, the same thing, African Union. So that's where we are. The idea is possible when we have political, we call it the political will of the leaders. Because if the leaders today get up in Addis Ababa or here in Arusha and they say from today we don't have borders, nobody will say no, there will be no borders. Nobody. So now that pride of swallowing what you have as the president, as whoever, is something which needed to be rethought.
Yet, despite the setbacks, the dream has never been fully extinguished. In 2002, the OAU was replaced by the African Union, AU, a body designed not only to promote unity, but also to address issues such as peace, security, and economic integration. Today, initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, and the Pan-African Parliament represent crucial steps toward economic and political cohesion.
No, I think if the youth are properly organized from what the African Union Charter said, we have a youth forum where we can have all the youth together, regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of their political ideology, and say we sit as youths of Africa and see where we take Africa. One day, I think, may not be at our lifetime, you and I, but they may reach there because the forces today are much bigger and they are much more fertile for them to unite than it was in the 1960s.
African forefathers dreamed of a continent that would rise above its challenges, where unity was not just ideal, but a reality. Today, that dream is alive and it is within reach. If Africa's people can overcome divisions that still haunt it. Faitha Ngaga, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Faitha Ngaga, for that special report, taking a look at the unity of the African continent. The completion of the construction of the compressed natural gas CNG mother station at the University of Dar es Salaam will greatly make Tanzania achieve a major milestone in improving access to clean and efficient energy in Tanzania, especially to transport service providers. Here are more details.
This was stated by the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Energy, Dr. Biteko, after visiting the facility to inspect the construction progress, and was satisfied with what has been achieved so far as the facility nears 100% completion.
We are pleased with the work on progress, as we have reached an advanced stage with all the necessary equipment already on site. As you have observed, the construction is complete, and within a week, we will finalize all civil works along with the ongoing task. The contractor is assured that by the February the 3rd, vehicle will begin refueling with gas for the first time. Our objective is to eliminate the queue you see.
Apart from the facility expanding access to cleaner and more affordable energy, we will also offer practical training to university students and other CNG field-related prospective staff. Also, the government explains its strategies to expand and distribute further the service in and around Dar es Salaam.
Kuna vituo permanent vinajengwa kama hiki ni kituo kiko hapa hakihamishiki.
We are constructing permanent stations like this one, which are fixed and immovable. Additionally, we are introducing mobile stations, which are special trucks that we park in designated areas for people to refuel. Later, this truck can be relocated to the other locations for refueling purpose. This initiative is also underway, and we anticipate that these mobile stations will be available within this financial year.
This project has created the opportunities for our students pursuing related programs to gain practical training. Furthermore, it will open up numerous job opportunities for Tanzanians, particularly the youth, which is a significant benefit for the community.
Upon completion, the compressed natural gas CNG mother station facility will cost 14.5 billion shillings, including the purchase of 9 mobile CNG refueling stations and the construction of 2 other gas filling stations at Mwimbili in Dar es Salaam and in Kibaha in Coast Region.
Moving now to the transport sector, Acting Director General of the Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority, TCAA, Furaha Sanga, says his authority continues to invest in cybersecurity technology so as to increase airline industry investors' confidence to use Tanzanian airspace to stimulate growth of the country's transport sector. He made the remarks on the sidelines of the general meeting of the aircraft maintenance contractors, stressing that the construction of the modern aircraft maintenance facilities are IT-based, so the operators' skills are key for air transport safety.
Safety is paramount in aviation or in airline operations. So all the operators, the airlines in the world, those who are flying to Tanzania or those who are crossing our airspace, we have a number of aircraft are crossing our airspace. All those are keen on making sure that they fly the aircraft safely from their point of departure to the point of landing here in Tanzania. So whenever we have potential cyber attacks, those companies may decide otherwise. They might decide to possibly reduce the number of flights to Tanzania or else stop altogether.
The construction of the modern facilities include a radar and a VHF communication system, adding that the construction of more facilities at airports will continue across the country. Now, before we end up the local news, let's take a look at the exchange rate, update on the exchange rate according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates according to BOT, Bank of Tanzania. It's time now to take a look at the sports news. And in sports news, Tanzania Football Federation TFF Marketing and Legal Director Boniface Wambura says the arrival of Confederation of African Football CAF inspectors in Dar es Salaam for the final inspections of the infrastructures set for CHAN kicks off in February signifies that Tanzania is ready for the competition. Wambura adds that all the requirements outside and inside of the pitch required by CAF are in the final stages, and they are waiting for CAF inspectors to produce reports that will give a green light for the CHAN to start.
Kweli maandalizi yanaendelea.
Preparations are progressing well, and we expect that once they are concluded, the final report will be provided. We anticipate an increase in CAF officials arriving to organize and set the things in order ahead of the tournament, and we believe everything will proceed smoothly.
Training pitches to be inspected by CAF officials include Gymkhana Law School and Benjamin Mkapa stadiums. Minister of Industries and Trade Suleiman Jafo calls on Tanzanian business community to leverage on African Nations Championships, CHAN, and African Cup of Nations AFCON competitions to be hosted by Tanzania. Speaking in Dar es Salaam, Jafo believes that Tanzania hosting the big tournament will attract more football fans and spectators from around the world who will need services such as restaurants, housing, and entertainment. Hence, encourages business communities to invest more in those areas.
Know that in this area there will be employment opportunity for our generations, and apart from that, Tanzania will be a hub for the business center. And so on this aspect, as a minister responsible for industry and trade, I really appreciate for the great job Anna, Madam Catherine, and Lisa and their team. They're really doing a great job in our country.
And about the Zanzibar International Trade Fair, so that together with the Tanzanian business people, we want to make Tanzania more developed with the trading businesses. We hope all the East Africa countries and the other neighboring countries people, they will come to Dar es Salaam to shop, they will come to Dar es Salaam to do businesses, and they will purchase from here.
Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda are in the final stages of rehabilitating and constructing football training pitches before CHAN and AFCON kick off. And that's the sports news. Now, before we conclude the news bulletin for tonight, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Once again, this is 24 hours weather forecast from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. Average wind speed expected over the most part of our country, and rainfall signal are over southern western highland extended to western part of our country. For tonight, we expect future particular conditions, thunder shower over Furious over the western part, southern western highland, southern Morogoro together with the Ruvuma region. The rest part of our country expect future particular condition. For tomorrow, we expect to future particular condition, thunder shower over Furious and period over Kagera, Geita, western part of our country. The rest of Lake Victoria Basin expect future particular condition, thunderstorm over Furious and period. Southern western highland together with the Ruvuma region expect future cloud condition, thunder shower over Fure and sun interval, while central part, southern western highland, Tanga, Unguja and Pemba Island, together with southern coast expect future particular condition, rain shower over Fure and sun periods. Morogoro together with Dar es Salaam and Pwani expect future particular condition, light rain shower over Fure and sun period. Let's have a look for the 4 days weather forecast for some part of our country. Start from the day after tomorrow. For Dar es Salaam, expect future light rain shower for 13th of January. While Dodoma expect future light rain shower for 11th, 12th, and 13th of January. They expect future light rain shower over Fure and sun periods. Mwanza, 11th and 12th of January expect future thunder shower over Fure and sun periods. Kilimanjaro expect future light rain shower for 13th of January. While Morogoro expect future light rain shower 13th of January. Arusha expects future light rain shower for 12th and 13th of January. Dear viewer, we thank you for watching us and have a good night.
That marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I am Nasa Kingu. Thank you very much for watching.
Katika kipindi cha Jambo Tanzania tutakuwa na naibu waziri mkuu na waziri wa nishati Dr. Doto Biteko tukiangazia maendeleo katika sekta ya nishati hapa nchini.